Our whole world has been sexualized, starting from young children on up. How do you live in a society that is very sexual in nature and still keep your faith? Coming up next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Our mug of the month, free speech isn't free. Mug, t-shirt, poster, and of course, Headbangers Brew, as always, is sponsoring our program. Headbangers Brew, the newest blend, Joe Mama. And the profits from Headbangers Brew and all of our swag go to help feed the homeless. We Are Metal, We Are Family.com is where you go to get your stuff. So here's the question for today. Hello, Pastor Bob. My heart feels very heavy about something that's been crushing me since my childhood. I'm a 20-year-old man, and like most men, unfortunately, I've been masturbating and watching porn since I got my first computer at 12 years old. All of this has wrecked me, and I know I would have led a much better life without it. My problem is that because I have been contaminated for so long by the disease of masturbation and pornography, I have sexual urges that are very hard to control. It makes me do things I never want to do. Is this a trial that God has allowed upon my life? All that I have done makes me very angry and ashamed of myself. I know that God took our shame, but feelings are feelings, and I feel dark and dirty inside. Can I say that I get this question almost daily? People really struggling with pornography. And there's so many things I'd love to say about it, but let me say first that our society believes in sexualizing people all over the world. It's becoming more and more apparent. Sexualizing children in our schools in so many ways. And as we continue to fight all of that, many people are fighting their own demons and fighting their own addictions. And let me say that pornography is an addiction. It's a dopamine addiction, and it's very difficult to fight. And also, I want to say that pornography isn't sexual. Whenever we say masturbation and pornography, one is sexual and one is not. Pornography is an addiction. It really, after a while, and very soon, has nothing to do with sex. Has everything to do with addiction and degradation. And that's the hardest thing. And then you said, is this a trial that God has allowed upon my life? And can I just say that, no, it's a trial that you have allowed upon your life. Folks, you have to talk to your kids. You have to have this discussion with your friends. You have to be open and honest about things that everybody goes through. And I know that if I wasn't 70 years old, and if I would have grown up with pornography, which I didn't, I might have been struggling with it as well. Because you make decisions as, youngsters and as early teens that you're not quite able to make. And this is a huge one that can really ruin your life in so many ways. So what do you do with that? And, it's a lot of people say, well, it's just part of life and there's nothing wrong with it. And there's something wrong with it. You know that there's something wrong when it's such an addiction. And there are many people that spend hours and hours and hours every single day with pornography. They can't seem to get away from it. And because it's so readily available and it's a dopamine high, people do it. Well, I want to go to some scripture. And those of you that are struggling, I want you to take this scripture very seriously. because this is not only a description, but it's a solution. And it's found in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. Turn there with me. And he says, run away from youthful desires. Now, I love the way it starts out in the Amplified Bible here. It says, run away. There's one translation. I can't remember what the translation was. It may have been the Phillips. It said, run away as fast as you can. That's exactly what it's saying here. Don't even give yourself a chance to think about it. Run away as fast as you can. Now, that's the first piece of advice for temptation of any kind. Run away as fast as you can. Run away before you even have a chance to consider it. Now, we've talked a lot about fighting the battle before the battle. We even have a poster and a mug that says, fight the battle before the battle. The battle is in your head before it's anywhere else. And you have to make a decision about the battle. Am I going to fight it or not? And then you have a second decision, threshold thinking, taking thoughts captive at the threshold. So fighting the battle before the battle means that I not only realize that this is going to be an ongoing problem, but I plan for it. I plan for what? I plan for my success. I plan what I'm going to do when I'm encountered by this particular desire once again. And if I have a plan, and if I have a course to run to, then I do. So run away from youthful desires. What does that mean? Run away. But what direction do I run and where do I run to? Those are decisions you have to make. You have to decide how to run, and then when that happens again, you run. Fight the battle before the battle. And so when the battle begins to become obvious, you automatically know what to do because you've rehearsed it. And threshold thinking, stopping those ideas, those thoughts, all of that, keeping them captive at the threshold of your mind. So as you're running, you're focusing on something else. So let's go back to the scripture. Run away from youthful desires and aim at and pursue righteousness. So that's our aim. That's what we're running to, is righteousness and pursuing righteousness. And all that is virtuous and good and right living and conformity to the will of God in thought and word and deed. Thought and word and deed. Thought when it first enters your mind. Word when I speak it out. Deed when I act upon it. You see, there's a chain of events. If I can stop it with the first one, the threshold thinking, then the others don't follow. And then it says, and aim at and pursue faith, love, and peace, harmony, and concord with others, in fellowship with all Christians who call upon the Lord out of a pure heart. So, pure heart, does that mean that I don't have any bad thoughts? No. Does that mean that I always am successful? No. It means that I have God inside and God begins to challenge me to have a pure heart, a clean heart, and a heart that isn't encumbered by so much because it continues to really weigh you down. The first key is run away. Run away. Fight the battle before the battle. Decide what you're going to do before you get there. And then aim. As you're running, what do you aim for? Righteousness. All that is virtuous, good, right living, conformity to the will of God. In thought, in word, and in deed. That initial thought, speaking it, doing it, deed. And aim at pursue faith and love and peace and harmony with others and fellowship with all Christians. Why? Because everyone else has a desire to call upon the name of the Lord with a pure heart as well. And we need each other with any battle that we're fighting. Well, this is one of those subjects that could honestly take hours to talk about. In 10 minutes, I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but I hope that you'll go back to 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. It's the 2:22 verse. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. And read this. Read it over and over again. Get this in your mind. This is the battle that you fight before the battle begins. Folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.